Yeah, welcome today. I'm very excited to have this session here today with those two wonderful people, and one of them being Galya Ivanova, instructor from Varna, and the other one being Tom Ashlin. And give you a very quick introduction. My name is Thomas Neumann. I'm just a bit of facilitating here today. And let me share with you, where is Varna? Maybe some of you know, because they have been on holiday in Bulgaria, and maybe you have been to the seaside, and you probably know Burgas, and you then probably also know Varna. Yeah, so it's well known. Even my mother knows Varna because they happened to go there on holiday. But it's having a new site. Yeah, there is a new attraction in Varna, and that is this wonderful and really attractive KUMON study center. It's the very first study center we ever had in Bulgaria, and with us here today is the instructor of this center, Galya, there with her first student. That wasn't recently, because clearly this is not summer attire there, the big jacket. So maybe Galya, can you give us a bit of a background? So how did you come to KUMON, and how was this? When did you start? A little bit about yourself and your center.
Okay, first of all, hello everyone. My name is Galya, and I'm originally from Bulgaria, but I spent almost 20 years abroad. I was in England, then in the Netherlands, and eventually I was in Germany. And since I wanted to come back to Bulgaria at some point, I was looking for something meaningful, let's say, to do when I'm back. I learned about KUMON through a friend of mine by accident. I was visiting her in London for a Halloween party. And on the weekend, I saw her daughter working on something in her room. And I just went to talk to her, and I wanted to just chat and have fun and stuff. And then she told me, sorry, I can't do this. I'm doing my KUMON sheets. And I was like, okay, what is this? What is this KUMON that makes a child like not talk to me and work on something on the weekend? So it was very intriguing to me. And later on, I asked the mother, and she told me that this is a special system, and her daughter has to stick to a specific time and so on, and she's trying to improve her mathematical skills and so on. So I was just very curious, and I found that I had never heard of it, and even though I lived in England and everything. So I just researched later, just because I was curious, and that's how I found that it's a completely international method, and it's all over the world, and it's been there forever, almost 60 years. And I was really impressed, so I researched further, and since I was planning to go back to Bulgaria, I found that there's no such center in Bulgaria. So I found it strange, even that there isn't one in Sofia, because usually the capital gets all the good things, all the goods, so to say. And I was really surprised to find that there wasn't a center. So I researched further, and I just sent an inquiry because I wasn't aware of the costs. Obviously, you know, I saw it's a franchise, but you know, franchise is a very scary word, because you think of, I don't know, McDonald's or Subway, and then you make some really big investment costs involved. So of course, I was not sure how this works. So I just sent the inquiry just to see what it is and take it from there. So it's a long story from there. Basically, my email ended up in the Japanese office. They had no idea where Bulgaria is, and
oh wow.
Somehow, maybe weeks later, my email reached the German office in Düsseldorf, and I got contacted by a really nice lady at the time from the office. And I'm not gonna mention names so that everybody they're nice. I mean, they're all very nice, but this was my first contact.
Well, glad you said that.
Yeah.
So it's only because they're watching, you know.
Yeah. They will watch it again and again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. So she was really nice, and we scheduled a webinar just to get to know each other. And the webinar was with two other potential instructors who were interested in opening their center. There was a person from America who was originally from Poland, and someone from Czech Republic. So for me, this was already a nice experience, getting the international feeling. Because since I lived abroad, I wanted to keep this kind of cosmopolitan feeling, having people from all over the world. So anyway, we had this webinar, and then I learned more about Kumon, and I found it's really interesting. And really wanted to do it. So we went to the next step, which at that time was that Kumon had not as yet decided to look into Bulgaria as a potential location, so to say. So I was told that I have to wait a little bit until we receive approval from the Japanese office, because obviously it's a huge organization, so need all the approvals and everything. And so I was waiting for that. I have to say, it took exactly 1 year. But I was really happy to receive an email again from the German office at Kumon with the subject, Kumon is opening in Bulgaria. So that subject made me very happy. So I said, okay, I've waited for so long, but it's happening. It doesn't matter. I started the steps, and it worked out. So from then on, there was an orientation training in Düsseldorf, which went really well. I met a lot of other instructors, again, from different countries. So it was really interesting to see how everyone is seeing the potential of opening center. And then after this orientation training, I had the chance to do the second training in Athens, in Greece. I say a chance because it was in May last year. The weather was nice, and everyone wants to go to Greece in the summer or spring because it's very sunny and everything. And I have to say that I was in Germany at the time. So
yes. Big difference.
So definitely looking forward to
noticeable.
somewhere sunny.
Wonderful. Great.
So I was there for 2 weeks. So it was amazing. I met all the instructors, and the training was really, really good because at this center, I got to meet real students because it's one of the biggest centers in Greece. And I got to actually experience Kumon working with children following the training. So it was a really, really good experience. And it was there that I saw that I really want to do this and that I can do it.
Cool.
And then in October last year, 1st of October, I opened my center in Bulgaria, in Varna.
Right. So that was quite a journey.
Yeah.
And quite a bit of perseverance and stamina you need.
Yeah.
1 year. I promise anyone else who wants to open in Bulgaria won't have to wait a year.
Exactly.
From now on, it's faster.
For everyone else, so they don't have to.
Wonderful. Before I hand over to Tom to maybe ask you the odd question, just an offer to all the people out there. Yeah, it's not only a conversation between the three of us, as much as we enjoy that. Please feel free to ask anything that you want to ask us, or in particular ask Galya. Just post the questions below. We are observing the comments, and we will answer here or get back to you at some point. Yeah, so please feel free to ask as much and whatever you always wanted to ask. So over to you, Tom. What are the plans for Bulgaria, and or any questions?
Well, no, I mean, touch on what Galya you just spoke about, which is, from that first experience, and you were joining someone, a Polish person living in America, a Czech person as well, and this is it. We are opening across Europe, right? And why did Galya have to wait for a year? Because until 2-3 years ago, our focus was only on a few countries inside of Europe, the UK, Germany, and Spain. But now it's fantastic. We're in a really exciting stage where we are opening up Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, even across Greece, you know, Switzerland, 15 countries in Europe where we are wanting to find people like Galya who want to develop children. Yeah, what you said, Galya, you know, when you first, what is that? When that child said, "I have to do my Kumon worksheets first," right?
Yeah.
What is it that's making that child say, "This is more important for me"? Right, than to have fun with Galya, right? You know, what's the trigger there? I mean, why did you find that moment so special, Galya? What I mean, you know, okay, a child wants to do you know, something else, but why did that have such an impact on you?
Yeah, because first of all, the child you are referring to was 4 years old at the time, and he's a little boy, so I mean, I don't have much experience with little children, but I always
at that time,
that,
Galya. Now you do.
I didn't have, now I do. Before and after, yeah. So I kind of expected kids to be distracted and to want to play and just to not follow orders, let's say. While this child, I don't know, every time he entered, he just wanted to start working. And for me, this was so impressive that I didn't have to say anything. So he enjoyed doing Kumon somehow, and it was really amazing for me. I almost didn't have to do anything because the child just had the motivation to work on his own.
Right.
And he was happy to do that. He even when he finished doing the sheets, he went directly to do the magnets. So he already figured the whole like routine and structure, and I didn't have to do anything. And this was impressive to me. And I realized that, you know, there must be something special that makes kids happy and gives them this satisfaction and happiness and joy to work on the sheets. And that's, of course, if they are at the right level for them. So I have to
thank you. We actually have someone here, Nevin from Plovdiv. So he thinks of opening a center with his wife, and he has 5 questions actually, well laid out here for you. And I think you just answered the 3rd one. No, the 4th one actually. Besides the financial benefit, what is the main driver behind such a venture? It's kind of a risk you took, to be honest. Now you took that international method. Yeah, there's this well-known provider in London, New York, Tokyo, well-known, but not at all present in Bulgaria. You took it there. So what was the driver behind making that your life support? So what did you aim for?
Well, okay, originally the idea of opening a center came through my mother and I, because she's a mathematician, and because of my living abroad, I got to speak in English all the time, so I felt confident in my English skills. I don't anymore since I moved to Bulgaria, but another topic. And basically the idea that Kumon offers English and mathematics gave both of us the idea that we can combine our skills and work in the center. So this was one of the reasons. I saw that Kumon can solve this idea of ours from before. And the other thing was what really attracted me and what I thought is really worth risking for, let's say, was the method specifically. I really like the fact that every child is on their own level, so there are no groups based on the class at school or age groups. Like, I really like the fact that there's no discrimination on age or level or knowledge or gaps a child may have. So this was really, really the key focus for me, because I have been to school and I know how sometimes things have gone at school. Some children don't understand the material, but the material goes on. So I really like the fact that Kumon bridges this gap and solves this problem for children. And also because, I mean, one of the drives, another drive was that, yeah, I like the fact that every effort of the child in the Kumon method is appreciated. So there's always well done or very well. There's always some appraisal for the kids, and this makes them really happy, because in my experience at school it was not like this. So I saw that you know, it's really nice that Kumon can make children happy and feel motivated of everything they achieve.
It's really
great. Good that you described how it is, because maybe the viewers here, they don't quite have an image how such a Kumon center would look like. Because if I look at the picture, it just looks like a school classroom, but it's a bit like looking at the car from the outside. Now you want to see the engine. And the engine's different, although the car looks very much like a school bus, but the engine's something else. So you described that setup where everyone's working individually on what they can actually do, and it's very positive. A lot of positive reinforcement, recognizing the little successes of those students, a lot of praise. That actually leads to question number 2, where Nevin, he asks, what's a comfortable figure? How many students can you actually have at the same time? I think under those circumstances, it's a bit different to having just any children with you, but those kids are in a certain situation when it comes to study. What do you think for you, Galya? What's a good number that you think, I can handle that, I can work with so many?
At the same time, I mean, because I've had recent experiences, I feel comfortable having maybe maximum 3 children at the time.
3 at a time, okay.
At the time, yeah. Because I need to have the time to observe every child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Help as needed, and I cannot do this if there's too many. If I'm alone, of course, if one has an assistant, then
and then you are building your skills. You started in October. We had a bit of lockdown also in Bulgaria, I think. No, I heard something in the meetings we had. So maybe not such a simple way of progress to develop your skills. But how many seats are there in your center, actually?
Right now?
Yeah.
In August, I've had...
No, number of seats, Galya. How many children? What is the potential?
Well, because of the distance measures currently in place, one child sits on one desk, so I cannot put 2 children on one desk. So I currently have, I think, 6.
Currently 6 seats, and potentially 12 or more, depending how distancing restrictions will be lifted.
I think in normal conditions, it's about 16 seats, isn't it, Galya?
16 seats, okay.
Also, I think, under normal conditions, I think...
normal, I could probably fit that, but keeping the distance and putting things away, then I think 6 maybe would...
And I think it might be good to mention, so under normal conditions, maybe, you know, from at the moment, Galya, what you said is super, right? At the moment, I want to be able to observe the children. So for me as a new instructor, 3 is my maximum at one time. But for those listening, maybe it's useful to share, right? That these children may come for 15, 30 minutes, 40 minutes at a time. And then they'll where Galya gets to observe them. Yeah, gets to say what you said, Galya. There's always something that they did really good that day, right? So to observe them and then to help develop them and to get them to be self-learning, this is so important. But they may stay in your center for 30 minutes at a time, and then of course, you know, and then the kind of like the next time slot, there'll be different children coming into your center. But for you to make sure you're seeing those children, that's what you've decided at this moment. You know, 3 is my maximum. But that, as Thomas is saying, you get to know more. yeah, you can grow that, and then with an assistant as well. Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point, because we talked a lot about the students, and we enjoy that. And then from all the instructors I met in my career, they are all in it because they just enjoy that situation. No? I think like a guy who runs an ice cream parlor enjoys making ice cream. Kumon instructors enjoy kids getting smarter.
Yeah.
That's our product. So of course we enjoy that. If we would enjoy accounting, we would probably be accountants. That's what it is. But there is an administrative side to it, and Nevin has a question here that's quite interesting, because as much as we enjoy working with students and we really want to do that and we want to engage with parents, but there is also that administrative side. So what would you say about that? If someone asks you, how much time does it take me to actually prepare and review and set up the next class, and how's your work split in time with your customer and time with the books, so to say?
Yeah, when I started, it took me a long time, because I was still new, obviously, and I was learning the method, and it took me a lot of time to do all the administration. And of course, in addition, I have administration tasks, because I have registered the company in Bulgaria. There's also other things I have to take care of. So at the beginning, of course, it was really challenging, let's say. So it takes some time, but with time, the administration part with Kumon is getting better, obviously. It was just maybe the most challenging time was during the lockdown, because we gave out sheets for maybe a month or a month and a half, and then later we got this back, and there was a lot of administration to be done, to fill in all the grades, the marks, and doing the setting. So that was a stressful period, but I can imagine for everyone.
And you made it.
Yeah.
You made it, yeah. And that's what it is, actually. That's why we consider the first year of your center operation still a year of training. So
you're learning all the time.
Yeah. And there are also more trainings, formal trainings in the first year, online and offline, actually now all online. And I know that Tom has been there in your center, I think. So you also get some hands-on support. When you're on such a visit, Tom, what are you doing there? I know you spend sometimes a day there or even two. So what's going on?
Actually, our wonderful colleague Ilias was just with Galya. You know what? This is great, because Galya, the reason that you wanted to open a center, for the children and something that makes them feel that they can do it, right? We know when we go and visit, like yourself, Galya. I mean, what did we do? We looked at the children you have, right? Yeah, we look at where they started from. Yeah. What was their current kind of ability, and then we talk about, okay, what can we do together? How can we observe them? What can we develop in them to make them feel, yes, I can do it, right? To make them walk out of that door to feel like this, I've changed today, yeah. And so when we go visit instructors, of course, there's Galya and I have had a few discussions over the administration, right? Of course, we're always going to have those discussions. That's important. But the main, what will make a successful Kumon center, and it will, advertising, of course, is always important. But the real success is always going to be when that child walks out, feeling that change, because the parent sees that change, yeah. And then how does that parent talk with other parents, right? Or when Galya, why did you start Kumon? Because you saw a friend's child, a 4-year-old. I'm going to do my Kumon worksheets, and do it because they wanted to, right? Because no one was saying, go do it. They were like, I'm going to do it, right? That is the success of how our Kumon centers grow. Yeah, it will advertising, of course. For someone that never heard of Kumon, fine. Yeah. But in terms of knowing what is the kind of the best ingredient is when we see a child, you know, with that feeling, because the parent sees it and they recommend it to others, right? Seeing is believing. So that's why when we go on such center visits with Galya, that's why we sit down, yeah, right? And, you know, I ask Galya lots of questions and she goes, oh my God, stop asking me questions, right? You know, but then we observe and then, okay, if we see this, what do we do? If we see this, what do we do, right? You know, and to go through that process together, because when we get the child with that change, right, that's what's going to and for you, Galya, when you see that change, how do you feel?
Very happy.
Right. And so this is our focus when we go on centers. Yes, of course, marketing. Of course, we'll talk about that. Galya and I had a huge discussion over the center, the choice of venue, the center location. We really went, because this is so important, right? So the business plan stage, making sure we're in the right location, that the brand awareness, you know, the physical center is there. And all of those stages, you know, the financials, we want to make sure that we're in a, you know, business is a risk. Any new business is a risk, but we want to try and reduce those risks as much as possible and maximize the opportunity. But then when we're with you, when we're in the center, that's what we want to focus on, because we know this is what's going to make Galya enjoy, because that's why I come to KUMON, yeah. But also, you know, we want to make sure the financials are okay, but only by growing children with developing them. Yeah, that's always going to be our goal.
Cool. It's almost a wonderful closing here for this, but I think we have time for one more question.
Oh.
And if there is no question in Facebook right now, and I don't see any new one, then I will ask you something. It's maybe interesting for someone. How was that? You brought that internationally known but locally unknown method to Varna, and how was the reception? Because people didn't know KUMON, and
Yeah.
what happened? What were the first encounters, and does it work?
It was, as you mentioned earlier, also it was a risk, obviously, opening a center with a method that no one has heard of. But what was actually useful at the time I opened was that there was a lot of information on the internet about KUMON. So even though people had not heard it in Bulgaria, they could look up and find that it's a very international method and it's been there forever. And so that kind of gave the trust for the new clients which contacted me. So they found, but they still, of course, wanted to see it for themselves. So to be honest, I'm very happy that the awareness was quite good at the beginning even. So
yeah.
Actually, the first month when I opened, I had 16 students on trial, and that's considering, you know, there's no KUMON in Bulgaria, there's no KUMON in Varna, no one knows about KUMON.
Yeah.
There was still curiosity, because also Bulgarian parents are very ambitious, I have to say that. So I think they just want to try everything. So if they haven't tried this, they also want to try it, but they just want to find out what's best for their children. So I can say that it started quite successful. Unfortunately, there was the lockdown later, so things have not gone perfectly, but otherwise the awareness is there now. So for any other instructors from Plovdiv or Sofia, it's all there. So
Cool.
You can do it.
Thank you. That is good to know. I think a good conclusion. And for everyone out there, yes, there is a free trial, so we allow those parents to join and experience KUMON. And then. We just lost her, but
we just lost Galya. She just said something so wonderful, and then
had maybe. No, we are anyway at the end of our meeting today. So fortunately, she dropped out when she had actually said everything that she wanted to say to that point. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining and being here with us today. I'm sure we will be back. Yes, we will. On the 22nd, I think we will be back here, and there will be an instructor from Germany, I think, is joining us this time, with a lot of experience from a very small town, but everyone knows it. Yeah, so
look forward to next time.
Yeah, jump in and learn a bit more about her. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.